Do I even need to say how orgasmic this chapter was? Everything from the start, from the cover page with Aokiji and his bird, his penguin, to the reveal of this mysterious sort of way that Doflamingo survived the attack. Oh man, Oda, you deserve a break. I mean, 1 week hiatus, take it, take it. Chapters like these, they're just so hard to review, all right? Because they pretty much rate themselves, so what you end up having is just looking at me just fangasming over the entire thing. The Mera no Mi was not supposed to be a prize. Sabo says, fuck that, armament hockey, let's have lunch. And see, this is how much of a genius Oda is. Because if you look at it, if you look at the Luffy flashback and how Sabo was supposed to be dead and was found by Dragon, all the while knowing that in the present, Ace had died and had lost his Devil Fruit ability, okay? He knew that Sabo was specifically meant to go with Dragon so that he could get all these techniques named after things that dragons do, like Dragon Breath, Dragon Talon. What does he have now? He actually has the ability to turn into fire and to shoot out fire. So he's actually a living human dragon, with the exception of being able to fly. I mean, that's basically what he is. Even the flying deal, like, did you see how far up he was able to jump? When he grabbed Rebecca on something like Clark Kent and Lois Lane shit, dun, 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 dun. And Bartolomeo gets left behind. He's like, wait, senpai, don't forget about me. And he's like, yo, Bartolomeo, you better get the hell out of there, man, because I'm about to go for seconds. And later in the chapter, Bartolomeo does say that he could have just used the barrier, but I think that would have messed up Sabo and the epicness of his moment. Those are flames. It burned the entire arena. There's a giant hole. There's nothing but the stands and then a hole in the freaking middle of the Coliseum. It's a really funny part where, like, we see, I think it's Koala who jumps out of the stands, you know, just like, oh, don't forget your underwear, you know. But it was more like, oh, before your face makes an appearance in this chapter, make sure to be dressed up the same way you were dressed up in Luffy's flashback so that the readers can get all fucking nostalgic. Now what we have is like two brothers that can use techniques that are homages to Ace, their older brother. And you know, Luffy with Red Hawk and then Fire Fist, and I mean, it's like Ace living on through them. Speaking of similarities among siblings, we find out that Sabo is, I think, the second in command in regards to the revolutionaries, just like Ace was the second division commander in the Whitebeard Pirates. It's not kind of the same position, but you know, it's number 2 in a sense. Captain Usopp! Now that was the most predictable part of the chapter, but the way Oda did it with like the light shining on him. Like, I mean, even Cavendish was in awe of this, which is really saying something, because this is the guy that was stunning girls left and right when he rode in on a horse. So it's one thing for Usopp to be able to fool the Tontadas into thinking he's like this massive big shot, but now, like, you know, he has like legitimate pirates, well-known pirates in the new world that got his back. So I'm like, oh, but like, yo, Usopp, like, you're doing something right. And then he just knocks it out of the park by saying, I will lead you, go and destroy the factory and save my little friends. So, I mean, from a Tontada standpoint, you know, all of them, like, their panties flew off. You see Diamante in this chapter, and his entire body is waving like a flag. I thought that was interesting. And speaking of powers, Sabo notes that he still has a lot to learn about this power. He doesn't control it just yet, which I like, because I think it's one of the things that Oda has taken an effort to highlight. The fact that you don't just get power-ups and all of a sudden you just run shit and are able to manage the power the way it's supposed to be used. No. An example of this would be Luffy when he ate the gum gum. You know, he spent years training to perfect his punches and be able to use his ability in order to fight. And the same kind of goes for Blackbeard. When he stole Whitebeard's Devil Fruit power, like, he was throwing punches, but he was causing tsunamis and just, you know, fucking natural disasters all over the place. So Rebecca asks Sabo, well, who are you and who was the previous Lucy? And Sabo responds, the previous Lucy is somebody who will become future king of the pirates, which, I mean, again, just like Ace, he believes in Luffy. I'm a little bit disheartened because there's a part in this chapter that I think sets up a departure, like for Luffy and Sabo to go their different ways, because it turns out that the revolutionaries were in Dressrosa to be able to find the source of whatever it is was mass producing these weapons that were being sent over or exported to other countries. So I'm wondering whether or not after this arc, if Luffy beats Doflamingo and Doflamingo or somebody reveals to Luffy the source of those weapons. I wonder if Sabo's gonna, say goodbye and head over to that location to put a stop to the exportation. Unless the location where the weapons are being fabricated is the same location that Luffy and the crew or Law decides to go next. I just want to give briefly just a mention to Robin and that she was able to stall off Treble. Although we've seen this before, like she was able to clone herself and escape his substance. Go to the throne room and that's when shit really starts getting nuts. Pika shows up, Flamingo is not dead, and he says that he's used an ability called Birdcage. And we see Law freaking out, which means it wasn't Pika who saved him. And also just a very brief mention, there's a shot of Gladius's eye, which I think it's the first time we actually see an eye, because like the glasses that he was wearing obscured his pupils. So I thought that was interesting. It might be foreshadowing to the fact that he's eventually going to be unmasked and uncovered by all this stuff that he's wearing. That being said, all right, Flamingo's head has been cut off from his body, and he's still talking. From what we know, there is only one character in the world of One Piece capable of detaching a head from a body without actually killing the person, and that's Law. Now, Law couldn't have been the one who did that because Law had sea stone cuffs, so he couldn't have used his ability. What is going on? Well, there's a couple of things that I think might have happened. Either Birdcage allows Doflamingo to use some type of borrow somebody's ability. Now, if you think about it, though, that doesn't really make a lot of sense because Doflamingo's powers are based on manipulation, attaching strings and manipulating people. So what I think happened is that there's somebody else in that room, somebody with the power to do something similar to what Law can do. And that is, in my opinion, it's a theory, so just please don't take it seriously, but it might be Corazon, the guy who Law was, going to get revenge for. Yes, I know that it is implied that Corazon probably died a very horrible death, but I think that, if Doflamingo can manipulate living human beings, why can't he manipulate corpses? And that would explain why Law is so fucking shocked. It's not so much of the ability itself, but of seeing Corazon again as a zombie or something. Now, I don't think Corazon... See, because we don't know how Law got his devil fruit power, So maybe Corazon had the same devil fruit ability before he died. But then again, how can two people with the same devil fruit power exist even if one is dead? I don't know. That's just, it's just a theory. Food for thought. Please leave me your theories. I'm very interested in reading them. Thank you so much for watching. This was an excellent chapter. Oda had teased the shit out of revealing Sabo's face. Now we know what he looks like with the scar and everything. He looks perfect in my opinion, by the way. I would not have had him look any other way. Thank you for watching, rating, subscribing.